In a previous video, I showed you how to build this simple 8-ohm dummy load for bench testing amplifiers. After some viewer comments and thermal testing, I added a heatsink and elevated the resistors off of the board with some standoffs. But I still wasn't satisfied with how long the system took to come down to a safe handling temperature after extended testing. So I designed a simple fan modification to make this thing perform even better. The parts that we're going to be adding to the build are a fan mount, a 120mm ultra-quiet PC fan, a fan switch, and then a power source, whether it be a 9-volt battery or an external power supply. Let's take a peek at the bracket. The idea is it's going to set up on this stand like this. I'm going to try to put this on either side of the load resistors and then just have the fan kind of articulating on top of the load. See what else this comes with. Looks like a little mounting plate and some adhesive pads. This is the same brand of fan that I used when I modified my Tektronix TM5006 mainframe, and they really are nice and quiet. I'm actually going to be using this for a future project as well. But this is a 120mm PC fan, and it's just something super easy to interface and work with. So that's going to be our fan. And then for the switching, this is just a 2-pin fan socket. So we can just plug the, even though this is a 3-wire fan, this little 2-wire switch, we can just plug in like this, and now we can switch this on and off. So if we just plug in this little 9-volt battery adapter, we can flip the switch and start the fan. And I don't even know if you're going to be able to hear it on the mic. It's really, really quiet. And then if you don't want to have to mess around with the battery, you can use a 9-volt power supply, 12-volt power supply, whatever you want. If you'd like to add a fan to your dummy load and you want to build it exactly as you see it here, you can head down to the description. I'll have affiliate links available for all of these products. Now remember, this design is flexible. You can adapt it as needed for your specific use case. The first thing I actually want to do is determine my fan direction. So let me plug this back in. We're going to turn it on. Okay, this is the direction of flow. These are the screws that came in the box with the fan. So I'm going to open those up. And then for this, let's see, these should just screw straight into here. I think they're kind of like self-tapping. So we just need to get the bracket positioned. Let's see. All right, so that's where we want it. So I'm just going to set this down flat, grab a screwdriver and screw this in. Oh yeah, nice and easy. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay. Right now I'm just assembling this bracket. So there's 2 sets of holes here. We want to be on the inside set of holes. Put down this little fiber washer. And this is important because if we don't put this in, the screw will protrude from the bottom of the bracket. So right now I have them in, but I need to tighten them down. Just thumb screws, so I'm going to just twist them with my fingers. That's kind of tight. I wish they would have given us a slot so that we could use a big flathead screwdriver. This one's being stubborn. There we go. I just needed to get it worked around a couple of times. We're getting there. Okay, the bracket is constructed. Next up, we're going to remove these 2 screws so that we can slide this part of the bracket underneath and lock it in. Now, unfortunately, this is going to cover up my Ohm's Law sticker, so I'll have to redo this and put it somewhere else. Right now, I'll just put it here. Okay, now we're just going to lift this up slightly. This is going to give a slight tilt to the resistors. Now you could always add a spacer or a washer on the other side if you want it to sit parallel. Something like that. Let's get this back down into the original hole. This one started. I'm just pushing this back as far as it will go, and then just looking for an even reveal on each side of this slot. Something like that. All right, tighten it down. Okay. Actually, from the side, that doesn't look too bad. It definitely has a slight tilt to it. If that bothers you, you can put a washer here or on top of the standoff before the resistor, and that should even it out. Now we just need to bring in the fan. Again, this is the direction of the airflow, so we want the logo pointing away from the load. And for this, we just put in this little fiber washer. And we're in business. Now you can experiment with the angle depending on your setup, but I think I'm going to start at just about 90 degrees. It looks like it's able to sit in that position without interrupting any of the wires, so I'm going to tighten it down at around 90 degrees, and we'll go with that. I have to admit, this thing is looking pretty slick. It's starting to look like a fan boat. Just be careful with this. This is exposed. If you want, you could add some sort of grill. This is going to be hot. This is going to spin. It's plastic, but just be careful. Right now, I just have this connected with the battery. Air is definitely blowing out this way. So that's good. And you could also run this with a 9-volt power supply or a 12-volt power supply if you want more power. So I'm going to turn this off. Switch this over to the 9-volt supply. See, my light is on there. And it's about the same performance, same noise with the 9-volt power supply. If you went up to a 12-volt supply, it's going to run a little bit faster. Now, I haven't designed this to be super pretty as far as the wiring goes, because if you're putting the fan on this, this is probably becoming a more permanent fixture at your bench, and it's no longer something that is going to be small enough to throw in a drawer or hide in a cabinet or something like that. So I figure we don't need to get super clean with how the switching and stuff gets mounted, because this will get hidden somewhere at your bench, and you can do anything you want with this. The main takeaway is that this fan, it's a 3-wire fan, but you really just need the black and the red. So you could even snip this and splice into the black and red. You could put a little switch up here and a like a 9-volt battery holder somewhere if you want it all located on the board. You could do the power supply on a switched outlet somewhere that you have, like I have for my fan here, that's on a remote controlled switch. You could hook up a thermal sensor, put a temperature sensing thermocouple on the heatsink, and then have this always plugged in and have it only turn on when the heatsink reaches a certain temperature. There's all kinds of options. So again, that's why I'm not going super clean with mounting this all up with zip ties and getting the switch on here. It's going to depend on your situation, but let's test this thing out and see how much of a difference it makes. I just repeated the test that I did in the heatsink video where we ramped up the load to 100 watts, let it cook for 3 minutes, removed the signal, and then set a timer and waited to see how long it took to come down to a safe to handle temperature. This time I used a different thermal camera. This was supplied by FNIRSI free of charge in exchange for an honest evaluation. If you're interested in this product, you can head down to the description to learn more. After removing the input signal, I let the load sit in free air for 40 minutes. At that point, it came down to around 33 degrees C, which is plenty safe to handle. We're going to use that as our reference point. Okay, all things equal, I'm going to turn on the test signal, get to 28.28 volts, start the timer, We're going to let this run for 3 minutes and then shut off the test signal. Okay, we're getting close. I put my hand on the signal generator and release the signal. Fan on. All right, and now we're looking to see when the heatsink temperature gets down to 33°C. It's starting to drop here at a pretty quick rate. It's like 1/10 of a degree per second or faster. And by the way, if you're interested in taking your audio repair and diagnostic skills to the next level, you might like my Patreon page. You can find a link down in the description. We just crossed the 20-minute mark and we're getting pretty close to 33 degrees. So let's watch this closely and I'll stop the timer right when it gets to 33. Okay. 21 minutes, 22 seconds. That's impressive. That cut the time almost in half for getting down to 33 degrees. That's going to be a pretty nice addition to this load. Now once you're all done with your testing, if you want to make this more compact, you can rotate the fan down 90 degrees. And this whole assembly can just get tucked underneath the load. Something like that. And that can still get into quite a tight spot. So is it worth the expense and time to add a fan to your dummy load? Well, in this specific example, even just running the fan at 9 volts cut the time to safe handling temperature in half. So if you're planning to test high power amplifiers for extended periods of time, I think the fan is a great addition. If you're just testing 30-40 watt amplifiers for a few seconds at a time just to verify that they're operating properly and able to make rated power, you might want to skip the fan. It just depends on your specific situation and what type of devices that you work on. If you found this build interesting and useful, you're definitely going to like some of the other projects on this channel. When I design these, I try to keep them simple and use easy to source parts so that you can build them with confidence and improve your workflow and safety at the bench. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel. We'll catch you on the next one.